Hey, what's going on, people? So, I saw that Ethan Crumbley's mom was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, and she's looking at 5 years. And write this down because this is what I believe. I believe that Ethan will be out of prison. I know he shot 4 people, he killed 4 people. He should be out by the age 55, 60. He's not going to do his whole life in prison because there will be changes in the legal system when it comes to minors. Very, very drastic changes. I mean, we're already talking about how the brain doesn't develop until 25. I don't think he's going to do his whole bit in life in prison. I don't think that's going to happen. White Boy Rick was released when his movie came out, like a few years later, like 2020. He's going to be out when he's 50. He's going to pay for what he did, but they're not going to have, what was he, 16? They're not going to have some 16-year-old. I believe he was, yeah. 15. Yeah, he was 15, sorry. 15. Yeah, he was 15. They're not going to have some 15-year-old because he's been in jail. Jail is, he wouldn't have gotten bail, but they're not going to have him do an entire life sentence under the age of 18. That's just not going to happen. Second thing is, what is it that they could have gave him that would have helped him? That's my question. I hate when people say the mom should have gave this boy some help. Like, what does that really mean? Are you going to give him drugs by a psychiatrist? Are you going to prescribe him drugs that's going to make him worse? Are you going to send him to therapy where you're just wasting his time? You're going to remind him everything that's responsible for his depression and whatever he had going on? You're going to remind him that in every session? What I would have did, because I've helped a lot of people who felt down and out. This is what I would have told him. The reality, people don't want to hear this, but I'm going to just say this. There is no help. There is no support. There is nothing out here. The reality is this. We all have times when we may get angry. We may want to do physical violence to other people, but you got to learn how to control yourself. You got to learn how to just deal with shit, deal with life. I know it sounds pretty harsh, but it's like me. I don't really like my job. I mean, I like getting paid, but I don't really care for the people there. I don't really care for the manager there. But what I am going to do, instead of quitting, instead of complaining about the job to like the temp agency, I'm going to work as hard as possible. And this is going to happen because I can't see myself doing this forever, but I'm going to work as hard as possible to not have to work menial jobs in the future. I want to do whatever I can to get an education, to never, ever even think about 10 years from now that I work in a fucking factory. I want to do whatever I can to prevent this so I could be more comfortable, so I can be more happy, so I can make more money, so I can be more financially stable, mentally sound. Because people go crazy when they don't have enough money. People don't go crazy when they're rich. You don't have to worry about shit when you have money. But this is my thing. Okay, you got him the gun. All right, but this sounds pretty ignorant. I gotta say it. They weren't the ones that committed the act. I mean, what if he did it? Listen when I say this. What if he would have did it another way? What if he would have committed arson? What if he would have torched the whole school on fire? Are you going to blame the parents then? Because this is just my thing. I don't believe, to a certain extent, parents are responsible for what their children do. I just don't. And I mean, towards other people. At a certain age, I don't think they are responsible. Like, if you have a 17-year-old, because let me just say this. It's a certain age when your parenting is less effective. You can't really discipline a 17-year-old or 16-year-old, 15-year-old. When you're still beating a 17-year-old's ass, you kind of failed as a parent. But there's things that parents just can't do at a certain age for some parents. Like, if you had a boy in the black community, just say the black community. It don't happen in the white community much, but let's say you had a boy and he he didn't want to listen to his mom, and he grew up with his mom most of his life. And the mom wants to bring the father in the picture when he's 14 years old. You can't discipline a boy at 14. At a certain point, your parenting is not effective as it would be if he was younger. I mean, is he gonna? In most cases, the 14-year-old can probably whoop the father's ass. But I just don't feel like neither one of them are responsible for the act that he committed. Because, like I said, if they didn't have the guns, if the guns weren't in the picture, he would have found another way to do it. He would have probably used a no, he probably would have lit the school on fire. He could have stabbed people. He could have did another way of annihilating his classmates. But I don't feel like they deserve this at all, because they weren't the ones that did it. And if you want to hold all parents accountable for acts of violence that their kids do, why don't they do that to people in the black community? Whenever let's just say like a black kid kills another black kid, why don't they have the parents pay like money? Why don't the parents go to jail? I mean, if they really cared about what the parents do, how they're raising their kids, they should do that when it comes to black kids killing other black kids. That's just my opinion. But I don't feel like they are 100% responsible, because like I said, he's probably been thinking about this probably for a long time. It's not much you can really do at a certain point. But I don't think they deserve prison time. And this is like my last question too. What would that do? So you lock them up, right? You put them in jail, you throw away the key. And they call it prison rehabilitation. What are you rehabilitating? How are you going to rehabilitate them from doing involuntary manslaughter once again? What is that? What is prison going to really do? And I'm not, like I say this, I'm not trying to disrespect the victims at all. I'm not disrespecting them. It's just that they weren't the ones that committed the act. The son is already paying. Trust me, he's paying. He's going to be transferred to probably a maximum security prison, and when he turns 18, he's going to be the one that pays. I just don't think the parents are the ones that should be held responsible. That's just my opinion. At a certain age, like now, if he was a little younger, if he was maybe 5 or 6, like it was a case where a mother 6-year-old, I don't know how old he was, but he shot his teacher, and the mom she went to prison, or she's in prison right now. I heard a case because I didn't read it too much. Now, yeah, she should be held accountable, but after like maybe 13, 14, 15, I just don't think parents should be held accountable. Now, under the age of 11, yes, but when you reach a certain age, I'm going to say this again, your parenting is not very effective. There are things that you just can't, you aren't really going to really convince a kid to do. They got to sort of just learn on their own. I don't want to say you failed as a parent at that point, but tell me this. If you have a kid and, he's been having behavior problems going on ever since, like the mom and the dad split up, and he's just been showing this, ever since the divorce, what can you really do as a mother or a parent if that kid's like 13, 14? Like, what can you really do? That's why a lot of parents just throw their kids off to like therapy, and they may have like somebody else take care of them, because they know it's not much they can really do at that point. But I knew this was coming. 5 years, hopefully she can get through it. And I'm telling you, Ethan's gonna get out 65 the latest, but in his 50s to early 60s, he should be out of prison. He's not going to do a whole bit in jail.